People say they hear songs coming down from the tree, but no one has ever seen any bird or man playing it. We figure it's a fairy. And if you play music to please her, the fairy might give you her blessing. Getian never expected he'd be the cause of the superstition. And a fairy. Out of everything. Part 6. The Limited Sky in the Teapot. It's been a few days, so I don't remember what kind of voice I had given them, so I'm sorry I might not sound as consistent as the previous videos vocally wise. So you repair the pendant, that's why it has these cracks?
Seriously?
I wouldn't have thought it possible with just a pair of wings. Holding it at a distance, you can hardly tell it was broken. Following his gaze down, the bird's eyes spot the jade lying on the table.
I have not checked it carefully in a very long time. Judging from the look, I might have spent a lot of effort on it indeed.
I felt something change inside me after seeing what happened to the previous owners of the pendant, so when I left the mountain I kept it as a reminder. Not to meddle in others' affairs, and to remind myself how similar my people and humans really are. I wasn't favored by the goddess of wisdom, so please forgive me if I say anything stupid or offensive. Softly and tentatively, he touches the edge of the pendant with his fingertips, then he sits up. It feels a little like a piece of bone. Speaking of which, I wonder what you can see from my bones. No, never mind. I don't think I want to know. I won't, though. At first, I thought it was a trick for detecting lies and illusion, but if it's my past and future that you're seeing, count me out.
Seriously?
I would lose interest in living my life if I find out that I won't die surrounded by my collections of stories and beautifully carved bones. Ah, perhaps that's why he finds Getian to be this fascinating, because his powers are related to something Leonid enjoys.
No.
I haven't looked that closely. You haven't? But it is within your abilities to pry into the details. Please don't tell anyone what you see, including me. Clamp it. Muzzle it. Oh, pardon me. I only mean your ability is very impressive. Yes, that's all I wanted to say. You flatter me, sir.
It is.
But life beyond the mountain has told me much more than what the bones may tell. My people must have felt the same way as they traveled across the human world. They thought themselves visitors to that world, only traveling through it. Little did they know that they were already bound to it.
But things are connected once they meet each other. Exactly.
Novelty. I had forgotten about this move that I love so much. Novelty attracts attention, and it is all too easy to get obsessed with finding it. I learned calligraphy, drawing, music instruments, so many other skills. I have also learned many poems, all thanks to chasing novelty.
In fact,
I started carving bones after I got this very knife.
actually, the bone piece embedded in the blade will shine like a pearl if you put it under the light. But there is no doubt it is bone. It even looks alive when you put it in the fire. I just can't stop looking at it.
Bonding over their fascination for bones? For different reasons, obviously. Do your people know how to do it? Do what? Imbue things with life.
Like this?
Wood,
Or
bones. Sorry? I hate when I don't know when they start talking and when they stop talking. Wood, bones, metal, mud. We may shape them into the form of animals and men. This is one way of bringing them to life. The other way is to give them stories. When I first saw your bone wand and the jade pendant, I assumed that the wand was more precious than the pendant because it has arcane power and the pendant doesn't. But now I'm more drawn into your pendant story.
In fact,
Items with stories are more valuable than those without.
that's true.
Indeed.
Seriously?
And to fully master a skill, one must first find a good teacher and then be willing to search the world to learn more. He stops himself.
Oh,
Sorry, I should get some water. Would you like tea? I'm going to brew some anyway. The Browns just bought some new samovars. I'll make some tea for us. Ooh. A shiny tea set now fills up most of the space on the desk. The young man bends down to carefully light the charcoal beneath the device. How convenient. The pot must come from a good designer.
In fact,
My people are heavy tea drinkers, so some of ours were invented to meet our needs. It's very convenient, it pours easily and provides much needed wind protection to keep the tea warm. There's even a place to set snacks on. You see, no one would have been bothered to design such a thing if tea weren't introduced to us. The glistening amber tea is poured out of the pot until it fills the cup. As the steam rises, drops of water condense on the tips of the bird's feathers. If there are needs, there will be those who try to meet those needs. It's true, once you have the prototype, others will try to improve on it, but...
the creation is the real exciting part.
The bird ruminates on the wood. The young man is right. His people have never developed any skills or invented anything, not even the smallest things which might make their lives easier, like this teapot. All they have ever done is imitation or mimicry. They spent years learning human languages, imitating their behaviors, and adapting to their customs. The bones of the predecessors recording all the information they would need. Neither I nor any of my people have ever created anything.
If imitation was what we left the mountain for, we probably chose the wrong path at the very beginning. It's meaningless.
Well, you did something yourselves, recording all this information for this long and keeping the bones of the predecessors from place to place is kind of hard. He puts an end to this thought. It's a conclusion he never thought he would make, but not one he never thought about before.
Oh,
Don't overthink it. True invention is rare. Only a small number of people ever manage it. There are a few of them as an old man's hair. Someone else invented it, and now all I have to do is make the tea. Anyone can make tea. True, but we all brew our tea a little differently. Each taste is unique.
seriously?
I have to say, your dog pursuit of an explanation reminds me of some of my other Arcanist friends.
I don't know how to make a wand as simple and natural as yours. Likewise, you can't make tea as good as mine. Things like this happen all the time. It's not a big deal.
There's no need to dwell on the true reason you left the mountain. Maybe it was just curiosity. It could be anything. Or perhaps you were looking for a tool to survive. We don't need any new tools. My people have always had what we needed to survive. Now, with that mindset, you're sure to find yourself at a dead end. How could I make tea without the samovar? You'll have to see more to know what you're capable of, what you're made to do. That's your tool. The young man shakes his head a little and takes a sip from his cup, his face wrinkling up in disgust. Spits the tea out. It's bitter! Oh, good that you haven't had any. Too many tea leaves in one pot, I'd say. I'll make you another one. No matter.
That's no matter.
Allow me.
So,
Oh, well, thank you. Sugar or honey? Honey, please. That's how we had it back in the village. The bird nods in understanding. He stares at the teapot and slightly lifts his wings. The bronze pot tilts as he moves and deftly fills their cups. Oh, please pour my tea here, into the plate. In the plate. You want your tea in the plate. As he waits for his tea, the young man scoops up some honey and sends it into his mouth. Then he takes up his plate, drinking the tea from the edge. I've never seen one drink tea in this manner before.
in fact,
You'll get used to it if you stick around. We don't have rules on how people should drink their tea here.
That's true.
Indeed, it's good to learn new things. The white steam from the hot tea rises, and they both fall into a comfortable silence. Slowly, the steam gathers until it hangs in the air like fog, as Leonid realizes it. But there is still a wall, only it's no longer the staid gray office of the walls. What's going on? You said you don't know anything about artificial somnambulism, so how did you gain access to it?
No.
I've no such device in my possession. I spoke truly. I had never experienced its effects before.
However,
But I did tell you of an arcane skill similar to it. Have you forgotten? You got tricked.
In fact,
It's my job to assess whether you are a threat to the Foundation. To do that, I had to keep certain information from you. We only want honest answers from you, that's all. Now, you're right. We're still dreaming. That was the last piece of information I kept from you. If you're upset, I knew what you wanted since the beginning. The bird's voice is calm as he continues. Yet, I was bewildered by the inconsistency between your words and your deeds.
However,
I have also learned much from our conversation, but as I was once told, it is best to judge the heart by its deeds.
please,
Which is why I'm taking control. Oh. Okay. I'm a bit confused as to why this happened, because he said, Leonid said it wasn't him doing it now, they were still in the artificial somnambulist machine. But I don't get why Getian would use his similar arcane skill in that moment. I didn't get why he had to take control, as he said. We'll see in number 7, I guess. I don't like my accent a lot today. I can't roll some letters for some reason. Stage 7, I forgot to read the title. No More Astray. Turns out I was the one who was left in the dark.
seriously.
Now, I wonder why you let me guide you into these dreams. Weren't you afraid? As I'm afraid now. The Foundation won't go easy on me if they find out he operated the machine without training. And what if anything goes wrong and we're stuck in here forever? You have an interest in handicrafts. Oh, a sudden change of topic? Yes, of course, I wasn't lying to you. I made note of the place you mentioned.
Oh,
You did? That's good. In fact, if you ever go there, do you mind bringing me a couple of things? Dude, you just met him. And I'm hoping you might remember this place of mine.
we are born with the talents of speaking the human language and reading bones. Our bodies are a combination of humans and birds. They will turn into skeletons as soon as we die.
It is my people's belief that we should witness as many beings and events as we can to record them in our bones while we are still alive. And after our death, our bones will be taken to our next home. So that's why they take the remnants of the predecessors around. They have recorded stuff on them to pass to the other generations. But if he's the last one, what's the point of carrying the bones around? There's no generation after him to take them. Unless, of course, they could donate them to humans, to use in museums for other people and their future generations. He could do that too, I'm guessing. I mean, if it's readable, like if they carved those things on the bones, I guess it would be visible to humans to use these instead of throwing away all that his people ever did and recorded. But if they're recorded in a way like in DNA, like he can read bones without things actually being written on them, then I'm guessing that only people who have the same arcane skill as him could only read them, which might not be a thing, like maybe he's the only one who can do it, but I doubt it. There must be somebody else with the same or a similar arcane skill, so if you could give it a chance if you didn't want to repopulate. I don't know. We moved from the borderlands to the central plains because of war. Our future changed dramatically not long after we'd arrived. Then, one by one, my people left the mountain. Now more and more bones are brought back, and with the bones come rumors, tales about us.
People in the human world call us Miemons, yet we prefer to call the entire race by one surname, which is Getian. And I am the first Getian ever born in the Central Plains.
A mountain breeze rises, gentler than the icy wind of the land where they had been, It rustles through both hair and feathers. They hear the footsteps of animals on soft earth, the patter of tree branches, and the humming of water in a brook.
For a very long time, I simply roosted on this tree.
As the days passed, fewer and fewer of my people visited me. Most had become the lazy bones lying in the temple. The bones never lied about their owner's character. Some could be talkative, some were taciturn. The lives of mortals then scarcely intrigued me, but the life in the mountain had grown dull in equal measure. Until a thought dawned on me. Though humans cannot read bones, they have their own ways to pass on memories. They write or draw, they compose music, they shape mud and earth or carve solid stone.
I have mastered all these skills and read the lives of my people. Almost every one of them. I will make an attempt.
Oh, he will record everything in things that people can read too? I mean, that's a way too. It's just a lot of work, I think. But if he wants to do it, yeah.
What are you going to show me? A room full of treasures?
A room with only lifeless objects.
Yeah, treasures are usually lifeless too. Except, of course, from Sharpodonty, which, as we recently found out, bites.
Please come in. My wand is made of bone. The bone from one of my people. He had taken a lot of trouble on my behalf before I left the mountain.
His bones were never returned to this temple. For a long time I assumed he was alive somewhere far beyond the mountain, until one day I overheard the bones speaking, and they mentioned where his remains lied. The temple he last stayed at was not far away from the city. The place was long deserted. He gave up his life, neither wanting to return to his people, nor to be remembered and worshipped into posterity. I didn't understand his choice. I chose not to take him back to our temple as he wished it to be, but I took his story home to write it down in one of the scrolls.
Seriously?
This isn't a very large room, but it will be some effort to find anything specific. Aided only by the dim light seeping in from the outside, Leonid squints at the collections waiting in the dark. Some things are hung in the air, while others appear casually tossed aside, barely visible in the dark clutter, bones and carvings losing their dull luster to age. How are you going to find the right scroll in a dark room like this? Not a concern. The bird turns his head, and the room is suddenly bathed in warm lamplight. Oh, look at the slide. See what I did there? On his face, kind of look.
Who can tell the difference between the bones of the great and those of the ordinary? One should seek the pleasure of life, not the future after death.
Although the language he speaks is completely unfamiliar to him, the young man seems to understand the meaning of each word. It dawns on him that Getian is continuing to use his powers to keep their conversation smooth and clear.
That's true. Whatever we have done when we are alive, we will become a pile of bones after we die.
Louder for the people in the back that think they're special. I'm sorry. I think every person is special. I'm talking about people that think they're special and because of that put other people's down. Obviously, each person is special in their own way while, alive, but that means that they're different from each other, not that they worth more than other people because of power, because of money, because of whatever. You could be the most powerful and richest person in the world, but you're still gonna be bones and dirt after you die. That's what I mean. But yeah, in general, you might hear me say that in future videos again, like I think that each person is special in their own way. But by that, I mean that they're different in their own way and that they should own up to it and be proud of it. But yeah, when you hear me say you're not that special, honey, what I mean is you're not worth than another person. I believe that all people are equal regardless of their possessions. Sure, you won't be equal in power. Sure, you won't be equal in money. But when it comes to your humanity, to your being, another person in this vast sea of other people, you're just like everyone else. You do have feelings. You do have a fragile health that can leave you any moment. So yeah, we are equal in our rights. We should be, at least. I know how life is. We should be equal in our rights, but we're different in a way that we should be proud of and show to the world without diminishing others, if it makes sense. I think our language fails us there, like with using special for both the straightforward way to say it and as an insult when somebody thinks they're worth more than others. But yeah, that's my view, my personal view. You can have a different one, but yeah, I just wanted to set this apart in case you hear me say both and be like, but didn't you say that we should feel proud of being special? Well, special for me, when I say it in a positive light, means different, and when I say it in a negative aspect, I mean thinking you're worth more than others. Just to make myself clear. Let's keep going though. He looks around and gasps out of amazement. Your collection and these works. I'm amazed.
Seriously?
You truly are one of the best birds I've ever seen. Is that so?
Thank you.
The temple is quiet. Words are necessary here, but they are useless to the dead. The only sounds in the room are Getian's feathers brushing across the scrolls. Okay, so the reason he took control is because he wanted to show him. Yeah, because Leonid said that he thinks that bones with a story are more important than bones without one. So I guess Getian wanted to show him his world too, because so far Leonid took him to two places, two imaginary places, to ask him questions. And through his interest to his story, he felt that maybe he could show him some things himself, and he showed him the tree and now the temple through the artificial somnambulist. He's learning very fast. It's scary, actually. But that's what's amazing about his species. Like, he said they achieved what they achieved in life based on imitation and mimicry. And he's so developed in that, he's so skilled in that he caught how to use the artificial somnambulist by watching Leonid within, I don't know, minutes, an hour. It's crazy. Like, his species, I believe, shouldn't disappear, and it's good that he has written all this stuff down so that people can know who Getians actually were. Because like he said, people now have this misinterpretation of them like Miamongs and what they are, what they're not. And I think that by giving, or not giving, maybe just sharing for a while or teaching these things to the real world, he can clear the name of his people and also pass the history down, the world's history. Otherwise, all this will be lost. If he dies, everything will be lost. Who will find this temple and take these if they're this high on the mountain and nobody ever goes up to that mountain besides, you know, to pray at the tree, I guess? If that still happens, because even the two people we saw in his stories who approached the tree, this happened in the past. We don't know if people nowadays would still go there to pray, or if the tree no longer has that kind of meaning to the people. Part of me hopes that Getian stays in the foundation, because I think he could really help a lot with his abilities. And also to teach, like, I think he would be a very good teacher. Perhaps the fact that he's the last one means he has to be the one with the duty to pass all that history and knowledge of his people. But yeah, this is what I think about him so far. Let's go to what I believe to be the final stage of his story. After the Endless Plain. I believe it was longer, the title, but I didn't read it through the menu. Oh, they're back. The tea is still warm, as if the people there had never left the room.
Oh, thank goodness.
Home safe. No one's brain is permanently wrecked. Thank goodness.
Seriously?
But I never regret taking this journey with you, sir. Earlier you said your name was Yumping, but you call yourself Getian after your people. So what do I call you? If you don't mind, simply call me Getian. He pauses for a moment and solemnly speaks the young man's name. Leonid. Yes, I'm listening. Is that your true name? Oh, Like I said in the beginning, names aren't important. We use them only for the sake of communication. Hope mine is not too tough to remember. If you wish to know the name, I usually go with... My other colleagues always refer to me as Name Day. Name Day? My other colleagues always refer to me as Name Day. A second introduction, like a handshake from a friend.
All right.
I see.
So...
A toast to you, Mr. Getian. The young man raises his cup.
To peace.
To peace.
The bird extends his wing and pushes his cup towards the man. The man lowers his. The cups reach each other, making a single clink.
Seriously?
It's still nagging at me. When did you figure out that we were dreaming? The very moment you appeared as Li Jiang. How... Did I do something wrong?
No.
It was only that you asked me about my friend's whereabouts. It was odd that you'd ask. And that besides, your bones were a poor match to his appearance.
It is.
Illusions are different to perform, much like with artificial somnambulism. With different practice, you might become very good indeed.
Seriously?
Oh, you do sound like someone who's centuries old. Let me get all that information sorted out. Hopefully I will have some time left to show you around in the branch. The one in reality, of course. Take your time.
That's no matter.
But the man busily digging into his file seems not to hear him. I'll put you down as not hostile. In fact, you're kind, sensible, and very pleasant to converse with. You're also very cute. Actually, both are, but yeah, you know. But I will have to ask the question again.
No worries.
Please don't worry. My job is done, so your answer won't affect your assessment. I see. Finish what you have started. When we first met, I asked you which was more important to you, the bone wand or the jade pendant. At that time, I was only trying to figure out if you had a preference, when perhaps you shared with humans and arcanists. But you already answered that through your stories. You treat them both as equals, just as you value the wand and the pendant.
Are you sure you value them equally? What if you have to give up either of them to survive one day?
As we talked, I worried whether you might take the wand and the pendant from me. He looks into the young man's eyes. Also, he was being strategic not to lose either one. I told myself you meant no harm. You only wanted to learn more about me.
However...
From my story, you should know there's always a third option for me. Oh, what else do you have? I would have traded my life for them. Aww. Why I want to cry now? You have to stay alive, dude. You have to share your people's stories.
If I had to make a choice between the wand and the pendant, I would give you my bones.
Your bones?
Slowly he repeats the words and nods.
I didn't expect that answer.
Me neither. I'm shook. He closes his notebook and rises to push the chair back under the table before turning around.
So...
Please wait another moment. I need to pause the artificial somnambulist program first and bring you back to the waking world, as the protocol requested. I wish you a wonderful journey from here on. Your registration documents will be issued shortly. Not long before, we encountered a poet from an island. Perhaps you will see him too in the future. I think you'd have a great time together. Oh, Zima? I will look forward to it.
Oh!
Also, I didn't lie about my lover's stories. Should you hear more during your journey, I hope you might share them with me.
Can you write with your wings? Like, using a quill pen?
I will attempt to do so. The bird raises his wings, performing something as close to a wave as he can do.
Goodbye.
Finally returning to his solitude, the bird preens himself while enjoying the peace of the moment. He has seen and heard so much since he left the mountain, but rarely took the time to look back on his stories. The tea, the ink, the paper, the metal pot, the wooden table, the stone-paved road. So many things he had never seen in the mountains. He was a newborn chick. That's a take, but yeah. And the mountain, the brook, and the forest were his shell. Now the shell has been gently cracked, and he flows out into a bowl. I don't think that he should flow into a bowl because Like, that image gives me the eggs we put to fry. And it's not a good look for him. If he was free to the world to fly, I would take it as less of a threat for him. That bowl might be roughly made, but the liquid inside is clear and good, reflecting the sky, the mountains, and everything. Oh, they had more image coming up for this metaphor, because at first I was like, are we going back to the egg? And he came out of the egg as yolk, and now... Anyway, my brain is weird. Don't question it.
Perhaps this explains why people in the human world love liquor. I should have drunk with them when I had the chance.
I mean, if you're in Russia right now, you can try vodka. I mean, you can try... I'm sorry. You can try every alcohol wherever you go. But, I mean, if he's in Russia, he's at a place that is known for a specific drink. So he's going to have quality drink if he tries it there. Anyway, the bird closes his eyes. There is still time to enjoy the moment before he wakes up from this dream. Life beyond the mountain is indeed chaotic. I never intended to stay long in the city after the transformation mystery was solved. But now, I'm even further away from home. Perhaps I will never return home again. Even so, it was good to see it once more, if only in a dream. Getian sits on the scholar tree just as he had before, with the wind still blowing through his feathers. But he feels now that he is no longer as he was.
If time went back to that day, I would still fly down the mountain.
The owner of that tavern was young, stubborn because of her youth, but she has always been true to herself. She grew up in that city, growing close to her neighbors. She loved them like they were her own kin. If she did jump over the bridge, she must be a real Shangri now. She must be pleased. As for those two foreign merchants, they weren't scared away by all the trouble. They stayed till the very end. That day, I saw the lanterns floating down the river glowing brighter than ever before. And that hexagram of water and fire, the choice to be made, sure with water above the sky below, a hexagram of waiting. I hope they left the city with what they wanted. Till this day, I still wonder which path that lady with unreadable bones ultimately chose. That young man was another interesting person. I wonder whom I will meet next.
How would I know the limits of the mountain if I didn't leave it? Yet the world turns out to be another bowl. Fine. I shall listen to the wind before anything comes up.
All right. Ooh. So this was the story of Getian. Final thoughts time. Like I said, I think he's a very, very important character to have in Vertin's team or in the Foundation as a whole. I told you why. So yeah, I don't think I have anything more to add. Like, I pretty much summed up what I wanted to say in the previous stage. I think that's the only thing I can add. It's crazy to me that curiosity hit him after so long, because, you know, he's lived for years, okay? I don't remember how much. I think we said 500 or 5,000, I don't remember. But he waited so long to gain the same curiosity his other Getian friends did to leave the mountain. And I guess he needed a sign, because maybe he was curious, but he never took the step to do it, because in the end he was always brushing it off. Like those humans that came and got him a little curious, those that came to pray by the tree, I mean, he still brushed it off. I remember that part that he was like, oh, is it really worth it getting away from the mountain after all, blah, blah, blah. Like, he continuously tried to put any doubt of his staying on the mountain aside until he had to come down because of the whole Lu Shu thing that happened with Zhe, when he finally had his own divination that told him go with the flow finally. And, you know, that to him meant that perhaps he shouldn't stay there anymore. Apart from that, anything else? I also now am curious if mention in Zima was foreshadowing. I'm really curious if they're supposed to meet in the future, or even in Zima stories. I haven't done it yet. Let's be real, the main events have a lot of content, and I haven't managed to record any other anecdote besides Oliver's, which oddly enough was my most successful reverse video. I don't know why. Maybe because it was shorter. Because, you know, when I'm doing the main event, I separate in parts, and I know that people are not fans of parts anymore. But yeah, I haven't done the other anecdotes, so I still lack a lot of information that you guys probably already have. Anyway, with this story, our lore around this patch has been completed. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider liking, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope every character you pull full comes home before you know it. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye bye!